What's shaking, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid techno. Though we're back with what I would call deep acid, which is to say, one of the sub-styles of acid techno that is still made today, and which, goes back to maybe some of the earliest acid music, I would say, but certainly some of the earliest acid trance. But yeah, it's called deep acid. It tends to have slower tempos, it tends to be more atmospheric, even cerebral, as opposed to, sort of rockin' and having it, so to speak. So yeah, it's a cool subgenre, and I would say of styles that are still made today, it's as close to old school 90s acid trance, at least one of the flavors of that, which is to say mellow, kind of trippy acid trance. Yeah, it's as close to old school acid trance as any other modern acid music made today. So yeah, it's acid techno. I think, certainly by the estimation of people who make it, in this case, Biri and the Geezer, a fantastic duo who appear all over a couple of Biri's labels, UFO, as in the case here, though with most of my UFOs, you'll see I actually have the white label, and also Planet Techno / Planet Acid Techno. But yeah, it's just a devastating duo. I love their stuff on UFO. This track is sort of anomalous. Most of UFO, which again is largely Biri and the Geezer, I think there's some tracks, no, I think it's Planet Techno and Planet Acid Techno that's more like guest, but I think the majority of the UFO catalog, if not all of it, is Biri and the Geezer. But most of the tracks on this label are very fast and, having it, rocking style of acid techno, up-tempo, wicked, kind of rapid-fire acid work and so on. This track is, again, slower, more cerebral, atmospheric. It is deep acid. So for the label overall, this is actually a very anomalous tune, and I enjoy it precisely because of that. So let's get straight to it. This is Biri and the Geezer on UFO 9, as my sort of bad handwriting shows here. And the track is all Groundwork covered. Incidentally, shortly after I started this channel, which was a successor channel to my old YouTube channel, it was in May of last year, one of the tracks on this release, Attempted Rehabilitation, which is one of my favorite on UFO overall. I reacted to that, so it's weird. I mean, obviously we're not to May yet, but I am thinking about it. It's been almost a year since I started doing reactions on my old channel, which lasted for like 2 months until YouTube was like, hey, you got to make a new channel because this one's going to be shut down because it's connected to an old alumni email. So when I think of this release, it does make me a bit nostalgic because it makes me think of when I first started doing reactions. So while a dog barks in agreement outside, let us nevertheless get to it. This is Biri and the Geezer, all Groundwork covered on UFO 9 in the moment and with a cat potato on my lap. I'm not sure what year this came out, but I would guess like, I don't know, 2016? You believe, if you didn't know better, that this could maybe be on Emmanuel Top's Attack Records from, the mid, even early 90s. Alternatively, you would also believe this is just like vintage hard floor. Maybe George Solar Quest Saunders at his most acid, expansive, and experimental. Acid, the dribbly acid, the swizzly acid. You could definitely mix this with some hardcore. Love that. You know what you call that? That big sweeping, almost upward sounding element that comes in at the measure changes. That sound is the one I was trying to describe. Yeah, top tune. Heard one or two pops along the way, which again, you have records, you use them a lot in mixes. Inevitably, it happens. Even if you try to be super careful and keep them in pristine condition, inevitably flipping through the stacks and whatever, they do occasionally get those. So, but yeah, ultimately that's the world that I live in as a vinyl record collector. Nevertheless, a really cool tune, and as I said, a bit different than anything else on the label. I don't remember them doing another track like this. I do actually remember them doing an Acid Breaks tune. I think it's on the same release as Rise of the Machines, which I'm forgetting the name of the track in question, but I think one of the tunes on that record is sort of a breakbeat acid. So they've done, some different flavors, despite the overall vibe of the label being, fast, having it, acid techno, and a sort of, in kind of a Geezer style, you might say, which obviously, he's one of the two collaborators. Nevertheless, it is cool that they have a track like this. As I said, I'm an acid trance for life type of guy. So any tune that's made in modern times, but which has a bit of a 90s acid trance flavor, or one of the 90s acid trance flavors, I do very much appreciate it. And again, that makes me think, Jack Wax is another producer who makes tracks that are acid techno, but which there are parts of them where you're like, yeah, this is acid trance, sort of. There were a lot of tracks in the 90s that, like, they're a bit acid techno, a bit acid trance. Even the early Stay Up Forever stuff, the early Smitten stuff, I would say is that way. And I think Jack Wax, despite making tunes in modern times, his tunes have a bit of that, it's a bit acid techno and acid trance at the same time. So, yeah, big ups to this tune for having that deep acid, quasi-acid trance flavor. Big ups to Guy and Biri, of course. Big ups to my cat for being a potato cat. Nevertheless, let me know what you think of this one, and we'll see you next time. Peace.